great to have you on.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I just attended your concert, what was it, 2 days ago? Mm-hmm. It was such a beautiful concert.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
If I ask you in the beginning about that, like how did you go and how and why did you go into this kind of music?
I don't know if I feel like I went into it. I feel like it just kind of took me or something. I never really intended to sing on stages. I never really intended to sing for public at all. I started singing a long time ago. I've been singing all my life, but I think I never even dared to entertain the thought that I would actually make a living out of it. I loved it, but growing up, the singers like of the day, Whitney Houston or it was just a sort of a world that I wasn't so attracted to, even though I could admire singers. It wasn't, I don't know, it didn't feel like there was a place for me there. But somehow through the life journey that I've been on and specifically spending a lot of time in South America and spending a lot of time with indigenous peoples in specifically Brazil, in the Amazon jungle, it inspired me to kind of unlock the song again, because in the jungle, when I went the first time, I didn't speak any Portuguese. I was kind of left with the tribe without any translator for quite a long time. So it was hard to converse, hard to communicate. And I found that the best way for us to really feel each other was through song. And through, spending time with the people, somehow singing, and specifically singing things about my land, even though they didn't understand Norwegian or English or whatever I was singing. Just singing about home or singing songs that was, like coming from Norway or Scandinavia. It was as if they, music is a universal language, so we connected. And I also very much fell into the study of studying their songs and felt connected with their songs, had no idea what they meant at the beginning. But they spoke to me. Like I felt that I felt connected with that and was interested in just learning songs. So I think that was the initial kind of sort of initiation into that type of singing, ritual singing, no?
What about this, like what you're talking about? The more that I connect to my insight, the more I feel like I don't want to belittle language and words. But for example, going for a kirtan or some of the people are using their voices together and they are vibrating together without using words.
Yeah.
Are we neglecting other words to communicate than just through words?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. The mind is it's a small box, no? And I was just teaching a workshop and talking about the sort of the web of sound and frequency that we are surrounded by all the time. And that we sort of forget that we are swimming in this ocean of sound and frequency. And I'm wildly inspired by how much, how much communication there is, how much is going on when we are lending ourselves, our voices, to nonverbal communication, basically, and how much we perceive of the same, how much feelings, or how unanimous we are in the feelings or emotions or sharing that, how quickly we pick up on that simply by communicating with the sound, or like a hum or a tone or a way of putting something that we carry inside in sound. We can feel it. We don't have to put it into words. We can feel it. And the whole world, the whole invisible world that is beyond the verbal, that's the universe, no?
Exactly.
So for sure, there is a lot going on.
And also this, like when you start to use your voice and you go to the upper register and then the lower register, and I feel like, I don't know, maybe especially in, I don't know about Norway, but countries like Iceland, I feel like people tend to be inhibited, not very expressive and communicative, and having the emotions like outward, like maybe in Latin America or some of the warmer places. And I was practicing and teaching Japanese fencing for many years, and you actually use your voice. And I was often getting shy guys, and I saw how their whole aura changed when they allowed themselves to scream, and when they allowed something to come out that had been maybe hidden for a long time.
Yeah.
You must see that when you're having these workshops, for example, like when people start to literally use their voice.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's something also beautiful about giving oneself the permission to have a voice that is not in service of the mind. You know, that the voice is allowed to be in service of itself, or in service of the heart, or even something else, that we can lend our voices to what does not have a voice. And then it becomes interesting, because then we step into some kind of mediumship or some kind of channeling, or just kind of, you know, exploring those limits or those borders or the lack of borders with where we stop and where the rest of the world begins. No, and I'm very fascinated with that, and bringing in, like just now in the workshop, we would go to our happy place, some kind of place in nature, and then sing it. And you can really bring the energy of a place into a room simply by singing it. You know, we can travel like that in time and space, and we can, through sound, like bring that codex that the place has and and offer that song into place, and somehow have that energy there represented. So we're quite magical creatures, and I feel that sound is definitely one of the mediums, one of our sort of tools of magic that we inhabit.
There was a moment in the concert when everybody started to sing. What's this? I don't know. I'm lost the name of the song.
Heiamayo.
Heiamayo, exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody in there could just feel the energy when everybody was using their voice. And of course, people sing differently, but there is some sort of a harmony. When you said earlier that you couldn't see yourself making a living out of this, I was looking at you there and I was thinking it must be like a really, really grateful place to be in, to stand there in front of all these people and see that you are unlocking all of this that's happening before you.
Yeah, it's quite a special thing to feel that. No, I have all of their hearts. Essentially, it's quite powerful. I mean, I feel with these songs, you know, that it's something that I once was sitting in the jungle hearing, and I sang it, and then I just sang it to life, to spirits, to the water, to the fire, to the jungle, to the waterfall, to the river. I didn't mean for anyone to see it. We recorded that song early on because we wanted to play at a festival. Actually, we wanted to go to a festival, but we didn't have any money. So we thought, okay, maybe we can be musicians at the festival and just be allowed an entry. So we asked if we could do that, and they said, well, do you have anything? Can we see what you've done? We hadn't done anything. So we recorded ourselves just for the purpose of going to this festival. And we put this on YouTube because we had limited bandwidth where we were staying, so we couldn't send it. So we just put it on YouTube so we could send the link and be admitted hopefully to this festival. And that's why we put it on YouTube in the first place. It was never meant to be seen by anyone else than the festival people. And somehow we didn't get admitted to the festival at the end, but somehow that video, took its own life and went on a journey and suddenly had millions of views. And 10 years, 12 years later, I'm sitting here talking with you in Iceland. No.
When was the point where you felt that you could actually be making a living out of this?
I think at one point a lot of people wrote and asked for a CD or like an album, like where can we hear the music? Where can we hear the music? Do you have an album? Do you have an album? And I always dreamed of making an album because I love singing and I love music. But so we just thought, well, maybe we should make an album then because it seems like it's wanted. No, it felt like a big invitation for us to have an album. So that was a little bit the incentive to make it. It was never like, we had a lot of songs and we had definitely material, but we never really, It always felt that the road was kind of just open in front, and we would like almost be stupid not to walk it because it's right there. Yeah. And that's a little bit how it felt the whole time. It never felt like we pushed it. We were offering what we had in our hearts, the songs that we loved, and whatever we felt was true and good and what made sense to us, what was valuable to us. We were singing that, and we were singing it in ceremonies and into the rivers and to the oceans and to spirit, basically. That's what was interesting to us, was to sing to nature, and also in ceremonies. And from there, it just kind of opened itself. And but yeah, at one point, bigger festivals and kind of people coming to see our concerts, and we starting to have played festivals and bigger audiences, and realizing like, all right, there it is. Every step has just been right in front, and then kind of naturally stepping there, and then every year it gets a little bigger, a little more tight, we a little bit more rehearsed. Yeah.
You were talking at the concert about us living in prophetic times.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you about that a little bit, because what you were saying, it registered completely with me, and I feel exactly the same.
Yeah.
Elaborate a little bit on that.
Yeah.
Why are we living
in prophetic times?
Prophetic times.
Well, I tend to say this a bit, that, all native cultures have stories, prophecies, that one time there will be a time when the human family will rise up to defend what is sacred, to defend the water, to defend the earth, to defend life, no? And that time is now. And I think it's so beautiful to see, whether you have the eagle condor prophecy, that's just one. You have the whirling rainbow prophecy. You have the white buffalo calf woman prophecy. All these soul stories are telling stories about a time where that the next kind of, we will unite between us, whatever race, whatever nation, whatever color, whatever creed, we're kind of come together in spite of that and stand up for what is really important. What is the kind of the red thread? What is the value, universal value, regardless of who and when we, who we are. And I just see that everywhere. I see people sitting together in circles, regardless of background. I mean, speaking of prophecy, I just saw the other day that just a few days ago, on the 24th of April, there was a white buffalo calf born, which apparently is like 1 out of a billionth chance or something, no? And in the Lakota, Navajo, Comanche stories, you have the story of the white buffalo calf woman, which is apparently 19 generations ago would, just remind the people to basically to pray and have an active relation with Creator, with the Great Spirit, with some kind of higher power, or communication with nature, communication with everything that is alive, And I just see a world around us, which I think we all see, a world in chaos and distortion and a lot of destruction, a lot of, this paradigm shift has been around, I think, in our lifetime, and we've witnessed different stages of it. And at the same time, there's so much of that like new beauty sprouting, right? Some kind of new awareness, which is not new at all. It's old. And it's as if the conditions are just right, or it's getting the right kind of stimuli. I don't know why things happen the way they do, no? But just seeing that it's as if, there's a greater dawn coming. There's a new world coming, or there's some kind of awakening happening in level of consciousness, in level of our connection with the earth. And I think just, quite simple in the sense of being reminded of the original instructions of life, like what's the purpose of human, or very simply, what is our function on this planet? And surely the masses of us are not fulfilling our purpose. Clearly It's not to destroy this planet or taking care of our Instagram accounts or whatever we're busy with. No, surely it is to take care of this beautiful sacred design of life and cultivate and like remember the sacred laws, remember the reciprocity, remember how we are woven into life, how we are caretakers of the Garden of Eden. No, that's important. And we're forgetting that that's what we're here to do.
It's interesting when you were saying that time is now, and you're talking with conviction. Yeah. And that's what's been coming to me lately is like, it's also my responsibility to start to manifest this.
Absolutely.
And to start to say, no, the time is now.
Yeah.
It's now.
Yeah.
And the new world is already here.
It's already here.
And when people are like, but there are so many wars, it always has to be darkest before dawn.
Yeah.
And in my view, if people are to be awakened, how could it happen any other way? Mm-hmm. How could it happen for a person? You usually have to go through trauma, big illness, loss of somebody close to you to change.
Absolutely.
You don't wake up on a Monday feeling good, everything is the same, and like, now I'm gonna change everything.
Exactly.
And in the collective, why wouldn't it be the same?
Exactly.
Why wouldn't it be the same?
Exactly. No, that's it. It's how do you wake up? You get shook, right? And no, those are the catalysts of change. No, there's some kind of something comes to make people see also the value of things. And somehow when life is upside down, that's when you really see what matters. No? And that's when you remember what is important and what is not important. No, if we are ill, we have only one prayer, which is to get well.
Exactly.
And when we're not, we have, we forget about that. So it sharpens our awareness, and and there's many things on many different levels. There's also something about creation and destruction, which is ultimately the same thing somehow. No, it's like if you're going to build something, you need to clear down. Maybe maybe you need to cut the grass first because you're going to plant something there. That's destruction too. No, if you're I don't know, if you're going to build a church or build big home, you need to cut down wood, and that's destructive too. So even though not necessarily seeing wars like that, but just acknowledging that forces of creation and destructions are just kind of the same, or the same side of one coin. And I don't know why things happen the way they do, but a birth is like that, it's gory.
Exactly.
It has a lot of blood and suffering and pain, and it's not a pretty meditation. It's a full on. It's like it's the medicine wheel is as high as it is as low at the same time. And I feel that is what's interesting is what is coming out of all of this. What is born in that chaos, and what is when we are carrying or going through these collectively these deep wounds, I don't know what prayer lingers, right? What is the values that come out of it super sharp? What do we remember? What do we want? remembering that, okay, safety.
Þessi þáttur áskriftaþáttur. Inni á sölvitryggva.is fá áskrifendur aðgengi að öllum útgefnum þáttum, aukaefni og nýjum þætti í hverri viku.